Hello and welcome everybody to this video where we are going to be seeing two amazing games from the Chess Olympiad 2024 in Budapest. These games have been played by Arjun Erigaisi and Divya Deshmukh from India, and I personally like this game so much just because of the aggressive nature of the game. So firstly, let's see Arjun's game, who was paired against Peter Prohasga from Hungary. And yes, with the white pieces, we have Arjun, and he starts with the English opening. I'll skip to the opening because the main aggression starts after the 11th move. So c4, e6, knight c3, d5, d4, knight f6. It has been transposed into the Queen's Gambit decline variation. Knight f3, bishop e7, c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop f4, knight h5, bishop d2, castles, e3, knight f6 back, bishop d3, knight bd7, queen c2, c6, and now is the 11th move. It's white to play. You are Arjun Erigaisi. You want to make a mess out of the position and start an aggressive opening threat. What will you do? It's not one of the best four moves of the engine as well. White to play. Okay, so here Arjun started with the move pawn to g4. Boom. This is not a very good move, and it directly gives advantage to black in the engine, like 0.05 or something like that. But if you see the continuation here, the only move that black had to play which could have given him some advantage was the move pawn to g6. This does not allow white's threats, and after a move like g5, knight h5, black is safe. But instead, Peter played the move knight to e4. Now you might be thinking, why is a knight to e4 a bad move? Because of course it's a bad move. Firstly, if you see, it's a free pawn. There are like 1, 2, and 3 attackers on the knight, and only the pawn is defending it. But Arjun did not take the knight. This is because if knight takes knight, let's say, pawn takes, bishop takes. Now knight comes to f6, you come rook g1, takes, and queen takes. When do you start a pawn storm? Arjun has already started a pawn storm and his idea is h5, correct? But here black plays a simple move rook e8. And now you understand, when the center is open, you never start a pawn storm because your own king will become vulnerable. And that's what is seen on the board right now. The center is open, and hence this position is not so good. And that's why you see here, we do not go for the free pawn and keep the knight on e4. If the knight is on e4, the center is now closed. You can see here, the center is closed and our king is safe. If our king is safe, we can go for his king, and hence Arjun here played the move pawn to h4. Black responded with rook e8, g5 going with the threat, f5. When you see f5, what do you think? Opposite. Yes. G take f6, knight d takes f6, knight g5, and yes, this was a very nice move because now white is threatening to take the pawn, as now there are 4 attackers, 2 defenders. But yes, if 2 of the knights get exchanged, then it's okay to open the center because the king won't be attacked with many pieces, correct? So here see, black started with h6, knight takes knight, pawn takes, knight takes, and bishop takes. Everything has been exchanged and white is a pawn up. Not only that, you see this bishop is free. The queen is supporting it for a battery here. The rook is dead open. Our rook is coming, the king is dead open. Our rook is coming to g1 and the file is for the rook. We are going to castle and play the move bishop to c3 and see the g7 square like this. So now, what do you think? Who is winning? The engine will say it's equalist right now. But if you continue the position, bishop e6, rook g1, bishop f6, castle by white, queen e7, and now bishop goes to g6. Here you see, black has also created light square weaknesses, and Arjun is using all the resources. He plays bishop to g6, rook e8 because the rook was attacked, of course, and now bishop c3. Of course, white had the plan to play bishop c3 somewhere or the other, so as to somewhere open up, push the pawn and attack the g7 square. But at this point, it was not a very good move. This is because now if you see, the a pawn is hanging, and black can simply take the a pawn, and materially black can simplify it. Because now you can see after b3, the black bishop is not getting trapped, as queen a3 check, bishop comes here and queen takes pawn, and now the tables have also turned maybe, and black has an advantage of -1. So here b3 was not possible, and then white had to continue with something like e4 and go with the center. But here black went with the move a5, which is also a very nice move, because in the next move itself, after bishop f5, black takes the pawn. So see, now materially both are equal, but positionally we see that the black king is little dangerous, because the rook, bishop, queen, this bishop and this rook might also join. And that's why Arjun went with the move rook to g6. How to start an attack? Bring all the pieces into the play. Rook g6 not only threatens future sacrifices or something like that, but also makes space for the other rook to join in the attack. Rook f8, and now here note, bishop can't go to f7 to attack this rook, because already sacrifices are there. Rook takes bishop, queen takes, and d5. The queen is attacked by the bishop, if you can see like that, just like this. And if queen takes pawn, then do not take that pawn, just go rook g1, and g7 is very weak, and black is already worse. So here bishop f7 was not played, of course. Rook comes to f8, we double up and double on the g file. King h8, because note here the threat was to take this pawn. This pawn is pinned, so there are tactics as well. King h8, and now e4. We are going for the center now. Rook f7 and queen d2. The idea of queen d2 I won't tell right now, because that's where is the last move, and that's very interesting that time. So queen to f8, d5, and now you can see the bishops can't be traded, because if bishop takes and queen takes, then this pawn is also pinned now by this diagonal. So rook taking on f6, there will be certain threats like that. So black cannot exchange the bishops. So pawn takes, and Arjun is not interested in the pawn now. e5, such a classy move. Bishop takes h4, e6, rook is attacked, and black had to give up the rook to the bishop. The bishop can take it, but we won't take it, because here white plays a classy move, and it is a forced mate in 10. Of course, I'm not telling you to find a mate in 10 here, but the next move, it's white to play and think like Gukesh, think like Arjun, my bad, and play the next move. White to play and win. Yes, the move is pawn to e7, giving up itself, because if queen takes, that happened in the game, it's completely losing. If queen does not take, then there is a series of moves and mate in 9. So here queen takes, white to move, checkmate in 3 moves. Can you think like Arjun and checkmate Peter in this position with 3 moves? White to play and win. Okay, so the move here is none other than queen takes h6 check. This is the only forcing move if you want to checkmate black in 3 moves. G takes queen, rook takes pawn, queen has to come in between, because see, the rook is also pinned here, the bishop is sneaky here behind. So the queen has to come, and rook takes queen, and it's game over. It's checkmate in 34 moves, and Arjun gets the point for India in that round. So this was a very fascinating game, but we have another fascinating game which was played by the women's in the women's section by Divya Deshmukh against Sophia, who is from Switzerland. Here we are with the black pieces, and again we see a queen's pawn opening. In that it changed into that, but here we see d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, and what's the name of the opening? It's the Nimzo Indian. e3, c5. c5 is played a lot. There are also players who play castles. We see d4 as well. followed by c5. But yes, Divya chooses to strike in with c5, knight ge2, and now she plays d5. a3, the bishop is attacked, go behind, and now takes, and queens are taken off the board. Now you might be wondering, the queens are off, now it will be a dull game and go to the end game and someone will outplay the other. But no, there are minor pieces as well, and you will see the exact use of minor pieces in this game. Knight d4 comes, knight bd7, the c5 pawn is now attacked, and hence Sophia plays c6. Pawn takes, knight takes, and bishop to b7. Now the knight thought that it traveled so long here, now why to return, correct? So it exchanges itself. Rook takes, but while exchanging, the rook is now active, and this rook takes a very beautiful square for the rest of the game. It does not move a single square for the next 15 to 20 moves. Now bishop takes pawn because it was a free pawn. Bishop takes g2 and rook g1. Now seeing the imbalances, black has a open file, correct? But white also has a open file. But black plays bishop f3, and now the bishop is very beautiful. With the rook, it has a checkmate threat on d1. So the knight here is a little bit under the defense of this checkmate always. Now you might be thinking, here if it's white to play, why can't the rook take the g7 pawn? It's a free pawn, right? But white cannot do that because of the move knight to e5. The bishop is attacked, not like this, of course the knight does not move like this. Bishop is attacked. Let's say the bishop goes behind, then the knight can come to g6, and the next move knight h5, and the rook is trapped. So here white has to play the move bishop to b4 check, king e7, and now again, even though the rook is not trapped, let's say white plays the move rook to g3, then we'll pounce inside with a knight to e4 because the knight cannot take this as we have a checkmate threat. And now after rook to g1, there are many moves we can continue. We can even exchange the knights. Of course, okay, here though we can directly exchange the knights because there's checkmate. So rook g1 is not played, but bishop e2 has to be played here. But you can see all the pieces are going here. So this is not something white would want. So hence white did not take here. Instead, white played the logical move, that is rook to g5. Why rook to g5? Because white is saving then this, the e5 square, for the knight to come. So no longer black can go there. Now black plays the move knight to g4. The idea being, okay, I won't reveal the idea now because the next move is very critical. This move changed the entire shape of the game. White played the move h3, and now on black just dominated it. h3 does not do anything because the point of knight to g4 was to pounce to the e5 square, because now the two knights are defending themselves and this rook, lonely rook, can't do anything. And hence instead of h3, something like bishop to e2 had to be played. Something had to be exchanged and then white would be relieved. But h3 was played. Knight comes to e5 and now bishop b5, another inaccuracy. Here still white had to play a move like bishop e2 and maintain a equalish position. But after here white plays the move bishop b5 and simple castle, the knight is now free on d7, and these all light squares are very weak. All the light squares are very weak. So after the next move, white plays the move e4 so as to free this bishop somewhere, though it does not move for the next few moves. And black plays the move f6. f6 or h6, any move works, but Divya chose to play the move f6 just because of the fact that it attacks the rook, serves the purpose, as well as it defends the knight and puts support for the knight. Here the rook goes back to g3 and now knight c5. Now you will see the light square domination. This is a threat. This is a major threat, and another threat is to take this pawn. Note this knight cannot move as there is a checkmate here. So bishop comes to e3. The point is this rook now supports this. So now no longer is a checkmate on d1. Knight goes to b3. Rook is attacked. Rook to b1. And now knight to d4. Knight d4. Of course, bishop can't trade because then there will be a lot of pressure on this square. And then the rook can also double up. And hence, she played the move bishop to a4 because this was also another threat. One threat was to attack the bishop and also to go on to the c2 square for a fork. And hence, saving both the pieces, white went bishop to a4. And now here black played the most accurate move in the position, that is h5. This was a very nice move because the point is to play h4 and then threaten this rook, let it go behind, and then let the knights dominate the position. And hence white instantly played the move h4, not allowing it. But by playing h4, white did not realize h4 was first guarding the square. And now you will see why. Black played the move firstly f5, attacking. Bishop comes to h6, some counter attack, but it won't work because now no longer h3 pawn is defending this, and simply black can put its bishop to g4 and the rook is cut off. The bishop has to move again. Bishop goes behind. Rook is attacked, but when someone attacks us, we are going to counter attack, right? So knight gives a check. King goes. We take off the bishop. Pawn takes, and now we go f4. Rook is attacked. Rook goes behind. We go knight to f3. Everything is going towards the king. Bishop comes to b5, and now we go bishop h3 check. Here, instead of bishop b5, something like king g2 might be better because it can save the checkmating process. Of course, black is super good here. So just to delay, king g2 could have been played, but bishop b5, bishop h3 check. If white wants to save itself, it has to play rook g2 or something like that. But king goes to e2, check. And now if white wants to survive, king d3 was the only move. But white played the move king to e1. And now it's your turn to finish the game. It's black to play. You are Divya Deshmukh and you have to find the crushing last two moves and checkmate with a pawn. Yes, the move is a knight to c2 check. The king is under check, and now you can see the knight is taking the square, the bishop is taking the square, the rook is cutting off the this file, and now only move is king e2, and after this f3 checkmate. All the pieces are working together and delivering such a beautiful checkmate. Rook is taking this and pawn is threatening a checkmate. So this was the game that Divya Deshmukh played and dominated white, and you can also learn that one single move that was h3 that turned the entire game. Before that it was slightly better for black, but it could be holdable by just playing bishop to e2. But after pawn to h3, the game turned over because white allowed knight e5. So yes, that was the two games. I hope that you liked the analysis of the game, and I loved the game personally very much. If you did, comment down below in the comment section, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel Chess Craze, and meet you in the next video. Till then, stay safe, play chess and keep learning. Bye bye.